once again back. It's the incredible Dale Valor's Inner Game Podcast. I'm rapper turned dating coach Dale Valor, your inner game wingman. Listen, here's the deal. If you're new to this podcast, what we're talking about is inner game. What is inner game? Inner game is the relationship that you have with you. If all the other relationships in your life are suffering, in large part, and usually it's due to the relationship that you have with you sucks, right? So if you don't like yourself, how can you expect anybody else to, either? So here's the deal, man. We're going to go deep on so many inner game concepts in this podcast. I really am glad that you're here. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. If you're a long timer, welcome back. And let's hop in. Wait for this truck to go by. All right. 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, look, I am so excited to be doing this episode. Me and the guests that I have on today, we had an awesome conversation last week, and I was thoroughly impressed. And anybody that knows me, that's worked with me, that's done coaching with me, knows what a huge advocate I am of what this guy brings to the table. You've heard me talk about it a million times, how important your voice is and how you articulate yourself, what it is that you're trying to get across and how you get it across. They say the eyes are the window to the soul. I say your voice is a window to your identity. Okay. And so look, who we got on today is a guy named Guy Monroe, and he is a voice coach, confidence coach. We're going to have an excellent conversation today. I just know it. And he's worked with, now correct me if I'm wrong, Guy, but he's worked with, singers that have been on The Voice. He's worked with, you've worked with actors and actresses before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. These
famous singers and famous people and X Factor, The Voice.
There we go.
Prepared people for TEDx. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, TEDx. That's right. I remember reading that on your bio. So you know what? Here's the thing. He works with people that use their voice for a living. Okay. These are people who they're banking on the fact that they can articulate themselves, that they're coming across clear, direct. And so now if you take what we're going to talk about today and employ that in your own life, what can you do with that? Right. So, Guy, man, I'm so happy, man, that you're here today, man. I've been looking forward to this since we spoke last. And, this is going to be a banger. I just know it. Oh, and to my left or up or down, however it's edited, my trusty confidant, Shabam. So, glad you're here too, man. It's been a minute since we've recorded one. So I'm glad to be back on the horse. You know what I mean? So, Guy, man, first and foremost, man, what attracted you to this, to, working with individuals on their voice and as an extension, their confidence? Like, what spoke to you about that you're like, that's the ticket right there. That's what people need help with. What got you into that lane, man?
So I've always loved voice, and I've always been involved with singing and recording and my whole life, and stage work and professional shows. And what happened was I was a voice coach who then had to face, and every voice coach I think has to face this at some point, I had to face the stage fright element for my students would come to me, and then they would say, but there's so much more than the voice. There is, how do I not frighten myself when I get in front of a camera? How do I used to feel confident in front of people. I'm a head of sales, and now I have stage fright. It appeared out of nowhere. People say I'm auditioning for The Voice or X Factor, and I want to win. So what are the qualities and characteristics of the greatest singers in the world? And can you teach me those things so that I have that too? So I'm regarded as a great singer. So it's the whole gamut of finding value for yourself while you're singing your song, pulling yourself into the moment, how to do that. Understanding the voice, the elements of the voice, what makes us sound great, what makes us sound terrible. And to start off the conversation, just to let you know, everybody hates the sound of their voice initially. Then they come to terms with it, and then then there's acceptance, and then they start to develop their voice. They realize it is an instrument to be played. It's not just something that happens. It's a skill, like golf, like swimming, like riding a horse. It's a skill. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. That's awesome, man. One of the things that I don't think I told you this when we spoke before, but I was a professional artist, musician for over a decade. And, I was signed to a major label and all that kind of thing. And, have a couple albums out and all that. And one of the things that I noticed early on, and I'm sure that you've experienced this, and this isn't just a stage fright thing. I think this is a thing of, like just nervousness and anxiety in general, where it manifests physically, the physiology of it, where your throat tightens up, right? Or you feel like that you can't take deep breaths. You're taking these shallow breaths, because you're nervous or anxious, So like, a lot of my audience and a lot of the people that follow my content and things like that, they want to improve with women more, and being able to talk. But here's this very attractive woman across the room, right? And they're like, and they feel like that they can't even get out what it is that they want to say, right? So how does one overcome that anxiety, that nervous energy that is preventing them from being able to project their voice or be able to express themselves the way that they want to without feeling that nervousness, which and a lot of times people can read when somebody's nervous, you know what I mean? And so how does an individual get over that so they can even though they're so a little nervous, they can still function the way that they need to?
Yeah. So, people are willing to do anything that feels good.
Right.
So what's important is you must learn how to enjoy high stakes situations. Every social situation is a high stakes situation because we're being evaluated, we're being judged. And so how do we deal with that? I want everyone listening to this to visualize two primary elements. One element is the agenda. That's the adult component. That's the script. That's the song. That's the whatever I'm going to do. That's me. I want to get her phone number.
Yeah.
So that would be the adult component. That's the agenda. There's a second agenda. There's a second element too. And this is what will make you attractive. Remember, the agenda is not, there is no genius agenda. The bottom line has to be the animated element, which is if there's an adult agenda component, then there's the innocent child component called playfulness. So it's a high stakes situation. I want to feel good. So what I train myself to do is to seek out the good, using my mind, the good, the right, and the correct. Using my eyes, looking for the good, the right, and the correct. What do I like about her? What do I like about this moment? What's good about this moment? See how I'm pulling myself into this? It's not something where I am separated from this moment by worrying on what I can't control. And what I can't control is whether or not she likes me. Now, granted, those of us who know what we're doing, I know that she's going to like me because it's a skill for me to approach a woman. It is a skill, and I'm really good at it. So she won't get freaked out and she won't be frightened because what I will do is I know that I must have empathy for her. So instead of thinking about how I can come on strong to her, I'll look her over and I will find very quickly in this moment something that I can either share with her that I know will be attractive to her, or I will just describe something that she's wearing. Those are beautiful earrings.
Mm-hmm.
Or she'll have a name tag, and it'll say summer.
That's a beautiful name tag.
Summer. Wow. What a beautiful name that you have. Hey, I just want you to know that your smile is making my day. I really appreciate that. Mm-hmm. You see the sincerity behind that?
Yeah.
So I'm not freaking her out. I'm not trying to be cool. I'm connecting with an opportunity as opposed to trying to go through her for approval. Mm-hmm. Or trying to get her permission or manipulate her. It's the identical thing that we have to do when we're on stage. If you're standing on the red dot at TEDx, you have floodlights in your eyes. So using the audience as a feedback loop can't do it. So I have to lead the entire thing, pulling myself into the story, the agenda, pull myself into it. What do I like about it? What's interesting about this agenda? What fascinates me in this moment?
Right.
So you guys, I want you to let go of the idea of she's a doorway and you got to get through to her. And I'll do that by teaching you this secret. The greatest performers in the world, the greatest stand-up comics, they know this secret. And the secret is, don't try and make the audience laugh. Make yourself laugh. Mm-hmm. If you want to tickle the audience, you have to become a master at tickling yourself. So you create instant ease for yourself while you're in a high-stakes situation. Basically, you train yourself to play with innocence in a high-stakes situation. Strategic.
Sure.
There's an agenda present, but can you see that if the agenda is just information, I want to get a phone number, a technique, a strategy, whatever it is, what brings it life is the playfulness behind the agenda while the agenda is taking place.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does. It makes a lot of sense, man. Self-amusement is something I talk about all the time. If you're not having a good time, if you're not having fun, everybody's going to see that. Everybody's going to read that. Much like if a singer is on stage and they show no emotion, they show there's no kind of passion behind what it is that they're singing. I think maybe an example might be, Adele can get up and sing a song, right? And everyone's like, oh my God, what a beautiful song, right? The agenda being the sheet music, being the lyrics on the page and everything like that. She's what makes it beautiful. If I get up and do it, not a beautiful song anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because, maybe it will be.
Maybe it will. But
the point is, I think the point is that what Adele's strength is, there's what we expect. I expect her to be on pitch.
Yeah.
I expect her to be beautiful. Mm-hmm. I don't expect her to be pulled deeply into the story. That's wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's the skill. We must move far beyond. Don't be nervous. Just don't be nervous. Don't do that.
Worst advice ever.
The how to do it. How do we do it? When you were a child, check this out. When you were a child, when you were 3 to 5 years old, and it was playtime, and we can recreate that with some kind of imaginary story, like you're in your bedroom, and you pull out the play chest, you drag it out, and you open it, and inside are all these toys to play with. The greatest speakers in the world, the greatest pickup artists in the world, the greatest actors in the world. That's what they do when they walk up to someone that they wish to open their heart to them. Mm-hmm. They reach into their box of toys and they go after themselves. You inspire yourself. And to the degree you're inspired, we are inspired. Conversely, to the degree that you're afraid, we're afraid, or we're in distrust of you.
Right.
See? So
It's like the law of transference of energy, so to speak.
Well, you learn to go after yourself. It's really simple. You did it when you were 5.
Mm-hmm.
You could play in the moment, invest in the moment in activities that will bring you great rewards. You have to train yourself to do that during high-stakes situations. The sales call, walking up to the beautiful woman, all these things. You have to train yourself to inspire, motivate, and propel yourself. Don't be a difficult date. Don't make it hard. Don't make it tough. Let your mind drift towards thoughts that inspire, motivate, and propel. Like this morning, my cats were wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that in my mind's eye. While I'm looking at her name tag, it says Summer. So now I'm distracted, you see. I'm not worrying about her reaction. I'm thinking about my cats wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at her name tag and it says Summer. And I get on the vowels because the vowels are beautiful. And I say, Summer. What a beautiful name.
Yeah. No, I love it, man. I love it. You know, a lot of times guys that I run into and work with and things like that, you know, you get all types of different people, you know, and some of these guys will have a voice that is, you know, maybe a little high pitched, a little squeaky, you know, things like that. And there's a lot of advice that you see around and things of that sort, where basically it suggests, you know, you need to deepen your voice. You need to, you know, come across as more masculine, if you will, in your voice patterns and all that kind of thing. What would you say to somebody who has that thought, you know, like my voice sucks, you know what I mean? But it's high pitched, it's squeaky, whatever. Should that person look to change their voice, or should they look to just work on what they have and try to accentuate the strengths of what they have?
Well, I think you're saying the same. You're agreeing to the same thing. So,
okay.
What they should do is know this: your voice is a musical instrument. Mm-hmm. There are things that we do that are unattractive and things that we do that are really attractive. Young men try to sound older.
Yeah.
And that's a mistake, because what they do is they just lower the pitch of their voice. But what makes your voice beautiful are vowels. Beauty is on the vowel. Informality is the language of friends and lovers. Hi. How's it going? Hi is informal versus hello.
Yeah.
How are you doing? Hi. How's it going? I'm Guy Monroe, the charisma coach. It's great to meet you. Really great. The informality is how friends speak in American English. It's like Southern English, American English, right? So the informality is be informal in your style. Add character to your voice by, instead of directing your sound at your lower teeth out into the room, hi, how's it going? How you doing? Riding on a burst of air.
Yeah.
How are you? What you do is I want you to practice humming on an M, not an H. An H is a pump. But an M. What that trains you to do is to direct your vocal cord sounds to the amplification system, which is in the drainage system of your skull.
Yeah.
And that creates overtones and undertones. So it works like this. So you're hearing this kind of crunchy sound with my voice. And what you're hearing is my sinuses creating overtones and undertones. So it's very rich and full. So direct your sound up into the skull. And how you practice is, if you wanted to say something like, hi, how are you? I would practice taking a breath, grab it, put it under pressure, crush it, and then buzz it.
What do you mean by crush it?
Crush it. So you grab it, always through the mouth. Don't inhale through the nose. Okay. The nose is for Italian restaurants and yoga classes. It takes an hour and a half to fill your lungs through the nose. high.
Okay.
The mouth is quick. It's always through the mouth.
Uh-huh.
That fast for speaking or singing. So always inhale through the mouth. That's called grab it. Then I want you to crush it. Once you grab that air by lifting your chest, which spreads the intercostal muscles, the muscles between the ribs, creating a larger torso than at rest. And what that does is it creates a venturi rush of air in, okay, that activity. And now you have the air. Now crush it, which is hold your breath while you're talking. Keep the air inside of you. You should feel a little bit of warmth, but you keep the air inside. Don't blow the air out. Because when the air is gone, you stop making noise. But if you hold your breath, anyway, I was talking to this friend of mine, and he said, Guy, you should go over to this place and talk to her about that thing. And then if you do that, you see, then that's all going to work out very well. See how long that lasted?
Right.
Because I was crushing it, keeping my air under pressure, holding my breath, and releasing it very slowly. As long as there's air in the body, I get to keep making noise. And then I buzz it, direct the sound into the sinus. This trains me, the shutting of my mouth and working an M on a hum, trains me to trap my vibrations at the neck and trap at them in the hollow space in the skull, direct them up so they ricochet in this hollow cavity in the skull. And what that does is it creates reflections. And those reflections are called overtones and undertones. So if you listen to my voice, it's kind of a little voiceover-y, has a voiceover-ish quality to it.
I'd agree with that. It sounds about right.
So a perfect example of that would be like if I was going to mimic Johnny Cash. Mm-hmm. So if I do it the wrong way, I send the sound out through my lower teeth. On wind, I get, I hurt myself today to see if I still feel. I focus on the pain, the only thing that's real. But if I do it the way he did it, like a Tibetan monk.
Right.
I hurt myself today to see if I still feel. I focus on the pain, the only thing that's real.
Yeah. And you know what's funny about that too? Like, I'm a huge Johnny Cash fan. Love Johnny Cash. I did a song with Johnny Cash's sister, Joanna. I'm a huge Cash fan. And Siobhan, do you know who Johnny Cash is?
I've heard the name, but not really.
Okay. I mean, I'm not surprised. But so old school country singer. Okay. That's basically who it is. So, now Johnny Cash, is never, as much as he's respected and liked and loved and all that, he's a legend, right? All that aside, a lot of times people don't think of him as being like a great singer. You know what I mean? They think of he's got a great, he's got a presence in his voice. Like when you hear Johnny Cash, it's Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
But because he's not, his range isn't all over the place. You know what I mean? It's pretty consistent as far as I can tell. But I think if I'm understanding what you're saying, the way I'm taking it is that regardless of your vocal abilities, if you will, you can still you can still sound great. You know what I mean? Even if you don't have the...
Let me show you how intentional Johnny Cash's voice was.
Yeah.
So Johnny Cash toured with Roy Orbison and Elvis Presley. Mm-hmm. He could mimic them. What he did is what's called vocal falter.
Okay.
He wanted to sound like the non-singer.
I see.
Intentionally. Mm. It wasn't about hitting high notes. He's not an opera singer.
Right.
It's not his market. It's not what he's going after. So here are the 5 elements of star quality.
Okay.
Number 1 is beauty. Always be on pitch. And that's assured by using vowels, because vowels are musical and understandable. Consonants are obstructions. So run to the vowel, glue your words together, and you'll be able to weave a thread through your phrase line that always intersects with the vowel. And the musical notes, the number of them that you have in a phrase, are the exact number of vowels that there are, vowel sounds in that phrase.
Right.
So the vowels make us beautiful. The next step, number 2, is the beast. Always sound truthful. The sinus is truthful. Muscle origin, sinus destination. So that's Beauty and the Beast. We're doing pretty good up to this point. Number 3 is groovy. This is achieved with putting the rhythm on the vowels, quick and long vowels. The vowels are when things happen. The rhythm has to occur on the vowel. Why? Because the vowel is a musical note. So timing or shifting rhythm has to happen on the vowel for the human voice. We're not a drum kit.
Right.
It has to be a pitch. Okay. Number 4, visual storyteller, animation, gestures, and spontaneity. So if I take my awareness and I put it in this hand, and I'm looking at you, and I'm in my fingers, can you see how I'm in both places at the same time?
Right.
So there's no lying in this hand. I'm using it like a play toy.
Okay.
And number 5, childlike play, curiosity, innocence, investment, activity. So when you're telling your story,
Right.
you're investing. This is not occurring naturally.
Yeah.
These are investments. These are called activities. So think like the hula dancer, the sky, the earth, my heart, or a mime. I point to my heart. I point to you.
Yeah.
I point to my head. I point back to my heart. All of that doesn't happen naturally. So when you're someone that wants to be perceived as someone who has massive freedom during high-stakes situations, you have to practice and get used to investing in this way, in a way that is useful and truthful for you, by playing with the 7 senses and things of that nature. So to recap, number 1 is beauty. Number 2 is the beast. Number 3 is groovy. Number 4 is visual storyteller. And number 5 is childlike play. That's the X factor.
Yeah.
You put that all together. So it's very understandable. It is definable. It's not undefinable.
Right. No, I'm with you 100%. Like, Shabam, like, is everything he's saying not everything that I pretty much say? You know what I mean? Like, you need to be like, here's how you tell a story. Here's how, like, tap into your inner Italian, like be a little hand gesture, and like facial expression, so much communication is nonverbal. But then when you add the verbal to it, and the how you say it, not what you say, you put all that together. Now you're magnetic with people. People will respond to what it is that you're trying to communicate, because they're just like, I like this person. They're comfortable with you. And with that comfort, that obviously that other person's resistance has went down. Those walls come down because you come across as, and hopefully you are, genuine and authentic, and something that just draws people in. So I'm with you, Guy. Like that, yeah. But you said it much better than I said. You're far more articulate than me.
Wow, thank you. So here's the thing: never lie. Now that will sound like, well, of course I have to lie. I mean, the agenda could be a lie. Salesman dude, salesman guy. The agenda can be a lie. Yeah. And I'm like, you don't understand the game if you think that. The agenda is whatever it's going to be. It's structured. It's got a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's got an arc. Usually it ends with a demand. May I be paid now, please?
Yeah.
So that's the agenda. But let there be no lie in you while you're telling it. Example, Willie Nelson's got to sing On the Road Again. He's 93 years old. He just came off of a long tour. He's back in Austin. This is his last show. The last thing in the world he ever wants to do in this moment is to get on the road again. So can he use the lyrics for inspiration?
Yeah.
He cannot, because it's singing about something he doesn't believe in. But using one of the seven senses, the mind, he starts drifting in his imagination to find some truth, because I told you it is the animation, the childlike aspect, that brings the reality to the agenda. So he takes a moment real quick and he fantasizes. He sees the tour bus. He's visualizing going into the tour bus, and inside the tour bus is this beautiful 27-year-old woman. She's setting up his dominoes. He likes to play dominoes. And she's lighting up a nice big spliff for him to smoke. And he's thinking about this beautiful, gorgeous, stacked woman and his dominoes, and she's in his bus, and he doesn't have to perform, and he's just kicking it with this beautiful woman. And he goes, on the road again.
Well, man, I know that you got a lot of information out of this particular episode. Listen, if you need to go a little bit deeper, always feel free to reach out to me. Look, there's a few ways you can do that. You can shoot me an email. You can send me a DM. I'm easy to find. But the best place that you can find me is at freegiftfromdale.com. It's in the description of the episode. And you're going to get a couple of free gifts there. You'll get the first chapter of my book, Inner Game. And you will also find an exercise to help you find out about yourself and who you really, truly are at the core. Okay. And listen, if you haven't subscribed to the channel or the podcast, make sure you do so, man. It takes you 1 second to do it. And it means the world to us here. Okay. If you know somebody who could really use this information, feel free to share it, man. Don't hold it to yourself. You know what I mean? So we will see you in the next one.